Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Waters, along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Juan Williams, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five.
Hey, we've got 7 years to go, folks. You know, we got a long time to go.
He gave us a sneak peek at CPAC. The president is not only making America great again, he's going to keep it great with another run in 2020. And today we learned who's going to take the helm of his re-election bid. His 2016 digital director, Brad Parscale, was named as campaign manager. He first worked with the Trump Organization, then helped bring the president's campaign to victory, and went on to lead digital strategies for the RNC. Some exciting news for Trump supporters. Okay, so Dana, this is very early in announcing the re-election. What do you think the strategy behind that is?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean...
All right, Greg, what do you think?
I know. But go ahead.
I'm teasing. Go ahead.
Well, I think everybody knows President Trump's going to run again. I mean, it's not the first time that but CPAC wasn't the first time that he's hinted at it. In fact, he keeps talking about how the media will, even though they can't stand him, they're going to end up voting for him so they can continue to have good ratings.
Right.
I do think that it could have been something that just structurally, he wanted to send a message saying, I already have my person, so stop bugging me, like stop calling me and telling me that you're going to be my campaign chairperson, because I already have somebody in mind. And that way, giving Brad that title now quiets all of that, and they're going to have their work cut out for them. The American public usually gives a president a second term. It's very rare that they don't. In our lifetimes, there's really only Jimmy Carter, well, my lifetime, Jimmy Carter and
I was born
George
in 78.
H.W. Bush. And so you usually can get a second term. It is the path to the Electoral College is what's so important. The popular vote is going to be difficult for the president to get.
Right.
He didn't get it last time, but he was able to get the Electoral College. The Democrats are super invigorated, but they also are going to have probably 20 candidates, maybe more, that are going to basically water all that down. And what's different this time is that President Trump will have a record to run on. So it's not just, I might do this, I might do that. It's that I have done these things, and if you are a Republican, a conservative, you should be happy with these things.
And that's going to be tough to defend. It's better to be on the attack constantly. So,
also, can I add one other thing?
Sure.
The other thing that this does is it allows President Trump to continue to define himself before other people define him for 2020, and he can spend his time defining those other people in the ways that he does.
By calling them
I don't love
nicknames.
it, but he does it. Yes, exactly.
Greg, you're just happy he made the announcement because you wanted some fresh news at the top of the show.
Just before I get to my main point, why he did this, the name Brad Parscale is actually an anagram for Red Cabal's rap. So he is definitely a Russian spy.
Oh, okay.
He's a Red running a cabal to wrap up another election.
Okay.
All right.
Glad you got to the bottom of that.
Exactly. I get to the bottom of a lot of things, Kimberly, and here's why this matters. He is thinking beyond the sale. People are thinking about all this collusion stuff, you know, they're thinking about this. He's saying, nope, we're talking about the election. He's thinking beyond the sale. It's like, you know, when a real estate agent takes you to a house that's a little bit out of your range, and you walk into one room and then he goes, oh, couldn't you, this is definitely your home office. So they're thinking beyond the sale. They want you to be in the house psychologically. This is a perfect bonus room for your pool table. Of course, bonus rooms are terrible because that means relatives stay, so never get a bonus room. You just get a bonus relative. It's essentially trying to look behind whatever present conflict there is. If you're in a fight with your spouse, you start talking about the trip you're going to go on for your anniversary. So you're thinking always beyond the sale.
Right.
And that's what a salesman does to move beyond. And the thing is, it works. Because now people are going to be talking about this. They're interested in this guy. They're interested in the strategy, the fact that he's going to be implementing a social network strategy again, which is very controversial but very winning and is really important. So he's changing the game. This is what salesmen do.
And as Dana mentioned, Kimberly, he has a very large field in front of him. There's going to be a lot of names out there. I mean, how do you think that is going to impact the re-election? I think it's probably a little easier when you're running against such a crowded field.
Yeah, I think this was a very smart move. It doesn't surprise me that he did this. I heard that they were going to make some kind of, announcement, get some word out there, because also the midterm elections are coming up, and this really shores up the base and saying, okay, let's get fired up. This is a president who, despite what people were trying to say, wants to run for re-election. He's not, tired of it and being president frustrated. He actually wants to keep doing things and having accomplishments, including winning another term. So this way he can go out and have his surrogates as well, campaign essentially, fundraise, go out and support the people they need to win re-election in the midterms and really kind of shore up the base. Also, it kind of takes some distraction away from all these other investigations, because like Greg says, he's saying, okay, we're going to get through this because bottom line is I'm running and I'm going to win again.
And Juan Williams had a very provocative piece that was all over the internet the other day. You think 3 prominent black female Democrats can take out President Trump in 2020?
Well, I think they have the capacity, and that would be Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, and then, those two are really extraordinary because they're both in the Trump model as celebrities. Their political standing is a subset of their iconic status in American society. Kamala Harris, that simply has the big pockets of California behind her. But in all 3 cases, what's interesting to me is that you have women as kind of President Trump's kryptonite. And so women, overwhelmingly, black women, Latino women, and I think it's 43% of white women voted against Trump. So you get a strong, iconic female figure, and boy, I think that's why Trump went after her on...
You left out Maxine Waters. Why did you do that?
I don't think
she's an icon. Are you ageist? Is that what it is? Why not Maxine Waters? Juan, if you're going to do a trend,
Well, look, if you're in love with Maxine, I'll talk to her for you. But here's the thing. I think that President Trump is more interested in running a permanent campaign, and that's what he's doing.
I think President Obama was accused of doing the exact same thing.
Let me just say, there's no comparison. President Obama didn't announce that he was running until it was like 2 years before the next campaign. This guy announced on the inauguration date. By the way, I know for everybody who read the Drudge Report or was watching the show, say, oh, President Trump just announced that he's running. On inauguration day, he filed papers announcing that he was going to run
it was clear
again.
Too, Obama was running for re-election as well.
There's no comparison in terms of the time period. But the second thing to say is that when you look at Trump, he has raised $43 million in the last 2 years. That's 4 times more than Obama raised in his first 2 years. So you understand, this is a permanent campaign. He gets a kick out of running. He loves the rallies. Remember, after the November 16 election, he was holding rallies. He had his first campaign rally for 2020 a month after he was inaugurated.
So you're telling me that President Obama wasn't in love with campaigning? He was an amazing campaigner and a terrible leader.
I don't think he was a terrible leader, and obviously he got
One of the big knocks on President Obama was that he couldn't manage the government very well, and when he wasn't on the ballot, his party suffered. He was a great orator, and he loved giving these speeches.
I don't think there's any question
the same
about
type
President
of comparison,
Trump.
except for the timing of the announcement.
If I was to draw a bottom line on what he did today, I would say, one, he loves campaigning. He loves the rallies. That's when he's at his happiest. He's not a governing guy. But the second thing to say is Hope Hicks was before the House Intelligence Committee. Are we talking about what's going on with Hope Hicks talking to investigate? No, we're talking about the distraction.
Well, speaking of investigations, Dana, I think Jeff Sessions said that he was going to open up an investigation into FISA abuses under the Obama administration. I think it's just basically investigation warfare going on at this point. Is this going to do anything?
Well, the investigation that Sessions ordered fall under the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, who has his hands full. He's got a lot of stuff to do. Trey Gowdy was on the Daily Briefing today and said that he welcomes this investigation, but there could be other needs for investigations such as the State Department, in case this investigation that they're working on now turns up other funny business.
How was Trey Gowdy's hair when he did that?
Good.
Good?
Looking good, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Greg, what do you think about Investigation Gate?
I believe there's an investigation gate, and that bothers me. No, I was just thinking about announcing that I'm going to be running for re-election before I actually run for my first election.
Why?
I don't know, just for the heck of it. I want my library to be in San Mateo, California, across the street from Sarah High School.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Do you
all.
have to knock down anything to make?
Yes, you got to knock down a lot of stuff for my library.
what would be
Will
your
there be free
platform?
ribs?
There'll be free ribs and no books.
Okay. Kimberly, Sessions looking into the FISA abuses. This whole thing's boomeranged on the Democrats, if you ask me. We have an unmasking memo that's about to drop, and that's not going to be pretty for a lot of the Obama officials allegedly involved, like Samantha Power and Susan Rice. Do you think he can make any headway, or is this going to just get lost in all the text memo investigation kerfuffle?
No, I think people are going to pay attention to it because there's been quite a lead up, to this point, and there's been a lot of vocal pressure in the media and from people and from Trump supporters to examine this, especially given the fact that Democrats started this. They opened up this can of worms and made these accusations, and now this is follow through. And follow through eventually leads to justice. So we'll see here what happens. He's doing his job. He should be doing this. He'd be derelict in his duty if he did not follow through on it. And then what we need to do is cover it.
All right, Juan, last word.
Well, I just love what Kimberly said. Investigations lead to justice.
Okay, maybe we can investigate Sheriff Israel. I think that might be a good idea. All right, President Obama caught on tape engaging in revisionist history about his time in office. Up next.